Hey guys, it's prom season, and I decided to do like a plum, purple, silver kind of type look for you guys, just because I think it looks really romantic for prom, especially with that pop of silver on the lid. So I'm taking my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. As always, a pea size on my middle fingers, distributed evenly on my eyelids, making sure you go all the way up to your brow bone and underneath of your eyes. Never put on too much eyeshadow primer. I'm using my Naked 2 and my Naked 3 because the Naked 2 has that really pretty silver in it, and then the Naked 3 has those really pretty romantic plums and purples and mauve shades. So in the Naked 3, I'm taking Strange, which is the lightest highlight shade in the palette, which is really the only shade that doesn't have like a plum or a pink undertone to it. It's just kind of like a cream. And I put it on. It's not very pigmented, but the purpose of doing this is because it eliminates the risk of getting any kind of darker shade on your brow bone or in the corner of your eye, because that darker shade doesn't show up as well whenever you have that lighter shade to protect it. It's an odd concept, but it's actually something I stumbled upon on accident, because if you notice when you do your eyeshadow, it's harder to put on a lighter shade over a darker shade, so I just started using this method recently. I'm now taking Limit and Nooner in my crease, and this process is probably the longest process of doing my makeup every day, because you really want that crease to be very blended out, especially for prom, because you don't want any lines, you don't want to look like it's not blended, you want everything to be very seamless. So taking Limit and Nooner in my Naked 3 are like the most amazing matte transition shades I have in my Naked palettes, because I did love Tease from the Naked 2, but I just killed it and I hit pan and it's just withering away because of how much I use it. So this process does take a while, but you get good at it, and if you have a nice fluffy blending brush, it's so easy to do, but it just takes a lot of time because of wanting it to be what you want it to be. This is my Sephora collection brush, actually. It's like the nicest high-end brush that I have that I use for blending. I do love the Eco Tools brushes that you can get at Giant Eagle and Kmart, but today I'm using all high-end just because I only have a few drugstore products, and I haven't been using them lately, so I want to dabble into that again just so I can have a wider variety for my viewers and friends again. You can see this look coming together with Limit and Nooner. They're the only two matte shades in the palette other than that Strange color I use as a highlight. So, to the Naked 2, I am using that Silver Verve shade that everybody loves on a thinner brush. And then I get my e.l.f. setting spray that I use for just moisturizing that, or wetting that pigment, because it's $3 at the drugstore and it's way cheaper than getting anything high-end if you just want something to make that very pigmented on the lid. So I love this silver shade, and I make these little domes without blending on my lids, because I was going for more of like a cut crease at first before I blended anything in, just so I didn't get that silver up to my crease, because I didn't want that to be the concentration in my crease. So again, with the spray, I've had this spray for probably a year and it was $3. So definitely worth it in the drugstore. I used to use it whenever I would use eyeshadow for top eyeliner. I would just use that to Got that a little bit wet so that it went on smoothly on my eyelid, and I didn't wear eyeliner for a while because I just used wet eyeshadow as eyeliner. And you can pick any shade when you do that. Just perfecting my domes, making sure they're the same width and height. Getting my brush clean for the day. Whenever you put liquid on your brushes, you want to really wipe them off with a towel or something, even just for the day, because you want to get that moisture out of that brush. So I'm back to the Naked 3. This is Dark Side and Black Heart, but first I'm taking Dark Side and I'm actually going directly in that crease to almost make a line around that dome to make it darker just around the dome. I'm not really blending it up to my, like, into my crease with those other shades I used. Just to like outline the dome a little bit to give it some definition. You can tell the difference. Windshield wiper motions is like the best skill to have on doing eyeshadow. You can see in this frame the difference right there. This is also something I would probably recommend for a bride also, just because the purple shades are just so pretty. I don't know about the silver though, I might go with more of a natural color on the lid if it was for a bride. But then with a different brush, still Sephora collection, I'm taking Black Heart, which is that deep, like crazy, glittery, almost black, but still with that plum undertone. In the Naked 3, and I'm just putting it in the outer corner, not blending it too far in, not blending it too far up, because I just want that touch of it on the outside of my eye. And obviously not everybody's dress is going to match these colors, but this is just something that could get away with, depending on the color of your dress and how picky you are and how much you really are into like matching for prom. I think it would be odd if you had a red dress and then you had red eyeshadow or whatever, but this is just something that is almost natural but still gives that pop of silver. And everybody's dresses in 2015 has some kind of glitter in it, so it's not like you can't get away with this, but this isn't something that would directly match your dress. So here I'm just going to take a makeup remover wipe and just clean up those edges, because we have that advantage since we didn't do our face yet. So that's what I always do. Taking my Becca Ever Matte primer, which is so important for prom. Take a little bit bigger than a pea size, and you really want to warm it up in your hands. And then you put that all over your face, blotting it, making sure it's everywhere where you get oily, where you don't, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be dancing. Then you want to take a foundation. This is my Tarte Amazonian Clay foundation. A little bit bigger than that primer size, which is a little bit bigger than a pea size. And I do warm this up on my hands too, and I just use my hands for foundation because I feel like I have so much more control. Really getting it everywhere. This does look like really pale for me, especially for May, but this is running out and I have another one. So I gotta use them up while I have them. It's my natural skin killer. Then I'm gonna take my Nars concealer right under my eyes. It's in the lightest shade, I think. And then I'm going to take my beauty blender, and then I'm using that same NYX spray again, and I'm just really blending everything in with that beauty blender so naturally, because when it's damp, it just is so smooth and so effortless to blend it in. Whenever it's dry, it just takes so much longer, and it looks so spongy. But it's very smooth whenever you have a damp beauty blender. You can see it's pretty flawless so far. I'm going to take my Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit and use that banana powder shade with just this fluffy brush that I use to set that liquid underneath and then set my foundation, because you're going to sweat and I get oily, so I would need a lot of powder. I'm taking that darkest shade in the contour kit, which has more of like a rosy red undertone, and I just really kill my cheekbones with this because I think that this shade is just so pretty. I end up pulling my bronzer and contour down lower than you're supposed to, but if you blend it in and then just put it all over your face, it just gives you more of a bronze look anyway. And for prom, you aren't tan, so, because it's just the beginning of May, so you really want to look like you have a little bit of color, so it doesn't look bad to just really bronze it up. I love it. It doesn't look too unnatural either. If you blend it in, you can make anything look natural. My makeup gets so itchy around my nose. You can see me always itching and sniffling. Then I'm going to take this Too Faced shade. It's like a rosy matte blush. I forget what shade it is because it got taken off because it's worn down because I've been using it so much. But I just take a little bit of it and just blend everything together. Blush isn't too important to me for prom, but everybody's different. Now I'm going to take my What's Up and just hit my cheekbones and of course my Cupid's bow. You can't forget about the Cupid's bow for prom. And I take my Naked Flushed in Streak and I set that What's Up with that highlight shade, which I've been killing in this palette. I hit pan a while ago, but I love that shade. I take my Dior eyebrow pencil, with my spoolie from Sonia Kashuk. And I didn't really pay that much attention to my brows this day because it shouldn't really be the concentration. Like, it does still frame your face, but it's nothing too bold. It's still natural while shaping them at the same time. My concentration this day was the bronzed face and my eyeshadow, because you want to look very warm and you want your eyes to be very noticeable, just because that's, you know, a nonverbal communication with your eyes. And I had to move my mirror to get into my vanity. For my Buxom lipstick in the shade Sydney, which is that nude shade I'm obsessed with. These are so nice and so smooth, and they're still matte, but they have like a minty kind of taste to them because they're plumping. And of course I have to take my mascara, which I do recommend setting your face before this, but I was in a rush to get this video under 15 minutes, so I did not spray my face. But you guys know the drill. Spray your face before you put on mascara, because you'll run into issues if you spray it after, because it'll just be little black spots all over your face, because you'll blink from the reflex of the spray and it just kills your whole face with mascara. I don't use falsies. You can use falsies. Falsies are great. This is more of like a dainty prom look. I wasn't going to do anything too Barbie-ish. Then sometimes you can go back in and use that darkest shade you use for your eyes and go underneath your lashes to kind of blend everything together and make it look smoky. But you can also not do this just because everything's optional. Everything is what you want. So you can see it really closes my eyes. So if you want your eyes to be more open. But I'm done, guys. Happy prom. And do not make any stupid decisions. Bye.